Ever wondered how humanity got hooked on coffee? Well, let's dive into the annals of history, where an Ethiopian goat herd named Kaldi comes into play. He noticed something peculiar about his goats. They were a tad more energetic, a bit more sprightly after munching on the beans from a certain plant. You guessed it, the coffee plant. Now, Kaldi, being quite the curious one, decided to try these beans himself. And voila, he felt the same jolt of energy his goats did. The word spread. And soon others were boiling these beans, but interestingly, not just the beans. They started boiling the leaves of the coffee plant in water, much like how we brew tea today. This simple act of boiling leaves was the humble beginning of a beverage that would later stir the world. It was not just the drink of the shepherds and monks, but went on to become a global phenomenon. And that, folks, was how coffee was first discovered. From Ethiopia, the love of coffee began to spread. It embarked on a journey, a voyage of taste and aroma, first reaching the shores of Yemen in the 15th century. Here it was not simply consumed but lovingly cultivated, its beans nurtured under the warm Yemeni sun. Yemeni traders, recognizing the potential of these small yet potent beans, carried them back to their homeland. The arid lands of Yemen, kissed by the sun, proved to be an excellent cradle for coffee cultivation. The coffee plants blossomed, their beans carrying the promise of a rich, invigorating brew. As the word spread, so did the allure of coffee. It was a wave that swept across the Middle East, trickling into Persia, swirling through Turkey and permeating the sands of northern Africa. It was no longer just a drink, but a phenomenon, a shared experience that transcended borders. Coffee had now become a beloved beverage in several parts of the world. As coffee reached new lands, it started to change societies. One of the first transformations was the birth of coffee houses in the Middle East. These weren't just places to enjoy a hot brew. They became social hubs where people gathered to discuss business, politics, and the events of the day. When coffee arrived in Europe in the 17th century, it wasn't an instant hit. There was resistance, skepticism even, but it didn't take long for the rich, warm aroma to win over the hearts and palates of Europeans. By the time the 18th century rolled around, coffee had ousted beer and wine as the preferred breakfast drink. Imagine that! Starting the day with a clear head instead of a foggy one became the new norm. Coffee wasn't just transforming individual routines, it was changing societal norms. Coffee was no longer just a drink, it had become a way of life. Fast forward to today, and coffee has firmly established itself in cultures around the world. In Italy, the rise of the espresso during the 20th century led to the creation of beloved coffee drinks we all enjoy. From creamy cappuccinos to velvety lattes, these flavorful concoctions have since made their way across the globe, appealing to a wide range of taste buds. Then there's the phenomenon of coffee chains like Starbucks that have turned coffee into more than just a beverage. It's a lifestyle now. These chains have successfully popularized coffee, transforming it from a simple morning pick-me-up to an integral part of our daily routines. And let's not forget the sheer size of the global coffee industry. It's a giant, with coffee being the second most traded commodity in the world, just after oil. So, the next time you sip your morning brew, remember the long and fascinating journey that coffee has been on to reach your cup.